everyone to please take a seat. We're going to start momentarily. Folks, please find a spot. We're going to start in 1 minute. We're about to begin the ceremony. Please, everyone, at this time I ask, folks, may I have your attention, please? I ask everyone at this time to please turn off your cell phones so we don't have any disruptions in the service. everyone, and welcome to the 20th anniversary of 9/11, so 9/11 here at Fort Totten. I ask everyone to please remain standing while I invite Lieutenant Anthony Quinones to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Ready? Ho!
Thank you, Lieutenant Quinones. Please remain standing. I would like to invite Fire Department Chaplain Ann Cansfield to deliver the invocation.
Dear God, 20 years later, we continue to pray. We pray together, mindful that we are not alone in our sorrow, because you are with us and we are with one another. We pray today for the fallen. They are the ones who we love so dearly and miss so much. We also pray for the crestfallen. This day marks a time of so much sadness and grief for so many. We ask for your care and comfort for the living. Remind us again and again that you are with us, and you always have been. Thank you for this day. Thank you for one another. Thank you for the way that we care for one another and lift one another up. May you be with us now and always. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Cansfield. Please be seated. Good morning again, everyone. My name is Captain Gary Miller, and I'd like to welcome you again to this 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony here at Fort Totten. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of the dais. Fire Department Chief of Staff to the Fire Commissioner, Elizabeth Alessio. Chief of EMS, Lillian Bonsignor. Assistant Chief of EMS, Jonathan Pastilli. Deputy Assistant Chief of EMS and Training, Cesar Escobar. Deputy Assistant Chief of EMS Operations, Roberto Colon. You've already met Reverend Ann Cansfield. We have with us today New York State Director of Bureau of EMS and Trauma Systems, Ryan Greenberg. We have with us Chief Joseph Pataki. And our honored guest as well, New York State Senator John Liu. New York State Assemblyman Ed Braunstein. And New York City Council Member Paul Vallone. I would also like to take a minute and say hello to all of our active and retired EMS chiefs and distinguished guests that are sitting here in the front rows. At this time, I would like to invite Chief of Staff Elizabeth Cassio to say a few words.
Good morning. A character in the movie Fallen said there are moments which mark your life. Moments when you realize nothing will ever be the same. And time is divided into two parts, before this and after this. The terrorist attacks at the World Trade Center and the subsequent days and months following 9/11 have marked time for the survivors, the families, the rescue and recovery responders, and all New Yorkers. There's life before 9/11 and life after 9/11. This year marks the 20th anniversary of September 11th, 2001. And like every year before, as the anniversary approaches, the date creeps to the forefront of our minds, not because of the date on the calendar, but because the hot, uncomfortable, humid days of New York City summer slowly turn to comfortably warm with bright sunshine, deep blue skies, and occasional soft breezes that transport us back in time to the lifelike memory of the fantastically gorgeous weather that day, just like today. At the time, I thought I would remember everything about the rescue and recovery effort at the World Trade Center. But now, 20 years later, as I look back at that time, I realize I don't recall every precise detail or the exact date in the month of September when certain happenings occurred. But even though I'm not sure what day it was, I do know that it was a week or so after 9/11. And I'm certain of that because the rescue operation was ongoing at Ground Zero. We were still expecting to find some people alive in the destruction then coined pile. As I looked around the site, in between transporting human remains to the temporary morgue, taking it all in, I turned to my partner at the time, was Jimmy Mondello, and I said, I finally get it. I get it. Now I know what the World War II vets actually mean when they say never forget. I wonder, does one have to have a personal experience, an event like 9/11 or D-Day, to truly appreciate what never forget really means? September 11th, 2001 marks one of the darkest days in the history of our nation and of the FDNY. 343 FDNY members were killed that day, and the terrorist attacks ended up being one of the largest weapons of mass destruction events, as we continue to lose FDNY members almost every week because of World Trade Center related exposures. To date, 257 active and retired members of the FDNY have died from World Trade Center related illnesses. That's in addition to the 343 killed on 9/11. The World Trade Center related illness deaths will far exceed the heroic 343, and that will likely happen in less than 2 years at the current rate our members are prematurely losing their lives. Recalling the events of September 11th, 2001 evokes painful memories, and although looking back can be difficult, it's critical that we never forget. And at times like this milestone anniversary, we should tell the story of what happened, what we did, and recall the positive aspects of human nature and the heroism of ordinary people. Thank you.
Thank you. It is now 8:46. The first plane has struck the North Tower. Let us bow our head in a moment of silence. At this time, I would like to introduce EMT Robert Palmer, who will deliver the Remembrance Prayer.
Today we remember the bravery of the 343 members of this great department who made these supreme sacrifices 20 years ago today so that others could be saved. 20 years ago today, members gathered in their firehouses and EMS stations to begin another day of service to the people of this city, not knowing what the day would bring. This can be said about every day in the life of career first responders. On September 11, 2001, the department lost not simply 343 members, but we lost one member 343 times. Today we come together to remember each of these individuals. We also come as a fire department family to give strength and support to each other. We continue to honor the memory of our 343 fallen members and their contribution to the department, the city, and the country. We will never forget.
Thank you, EMT Palmer. At this time, I'm going to ask to please retire the colors. Invite Chief of Staff Elizabeth Cascio and Chief of EMS to lay the wreath at the wall. At this time, I will invite Chief Officer Young to say a few remarks.
Good morning. On this day, 20 years ago, on a day much like today,
Our lives change forever. Each year on this day, we gather in this spot to stand together and reflect. We come together to comfort each other and to remember our loved ones, our friends, and our heroes. On a beautiful morning in September of 2001, as they did for the previous 30 years, the twins stood tall, towering over a bustling city. Their open doors welcomed thousands of people that Tuesday morning. The morning was filled with "I'll see you laters" between family members. People went to work, kids went to daycare, coffees were purchased, and good mornings were exchanged. It was a normal day in New York City. At 8:46, it stopped being normal. From this moment on, our lives would be different. The twins were senselessly attacked and would be knocked to their knees. The 102 minutes that followed the first punch were truly extraordinary. Without thinking twice, the bravest among us ran to the rescue. Hundreds of first responders rushed into this danger with one shared mission: save lives, and that's what they did. Because of those brave men and women, thousands of people were saved. Thousands of mothers, fathers, wives, husbands, sons, and daughters got to go home that day. On this unbelievable day in New York City, 343 of our own FDNY heroes traded their lives to give a stranger the gift of a second chance. Since that day, we've added 257 additional FDNY names to our list of those lost to this attack. Unfortunately, our losses are not coming to an end anytime soon. Many of our heroes continue to lose their lives to post-9/11 cancers, and our department will continue to stand with them and their families. Over the years, we've attended hundreds of funerals and plaque dedications. These seem never-ending, but each time we come together, we learn valuable lessons. We are reminded that a life can be unpredictable and shorter than we hope. We learn from thousands of examples of friendship, love, and commitment. We witnessed incredible levels of strength, perseverance, and selflessness. Most of all, we continue to learn about impact. The impact that one life, one soul, one person has on the world is awe-inspiring. Our loved ones, our friends, our heroes are a stone thrown into the lake of life, and we are their eternal ripples. Their impact still felt today. I thank each and every one of them for the gift they continue to give us. Many sons, daughters, brothers, and sisters of our fallen have since joined the FDNY to carry on the legacy left behind by their loved ones. To all of you, I say, you are home. You are surrounded by your FDNY family, and you are loved. You are not alone. We will stand beside you today and always as we continue to navigate these difficult times and times of remembrance. Today, we gather to keep our promise. We will never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Bonsignor. At this time, I would like to invite other members of the dais to please go and water the trees.
Members of the department who made the supreme sacrifice while operating at Manhattan Box 558087 World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. First Deputy Fire Commissioner William M. Feehan. Chief of Department Peter J. Gansey Jr. Assistant Chief Gerard A. Barbara. Assistant Chief Donald J. Burns. Deputy Chief Dennis A. Cross. Deputy Chief Raymond M. Downey Sr. Deputy Chief Edward F. Garrity. Deputy Chief Charles L. Casper, Deputy Chief Joseph R. Marchbanks Jr., Deputy Chief Oreo J. Palma, Deputy Chief John M. Paolillo, Chaplain Father Michael F. Judge, Battalion Chief James M. Amato, Battalion Chief Thomas P. DeAngelis, Battalion Chief Dennis L. Devlin, Battalion Chief John J. Fanning, Battalion Chief Thomas J. Farino, Battalion Chief Joseph D. Farrelly, Battalion Chief Joseph Greslak, Battalion Chief Thomas T. Haskell Jr., Battalion Chief Brian C. Hickey, Battalion Chief William J. McGovern, Battalion Chief Louis J. Modaferri, Battalion Chief John M. Moran, Battalion Chief Richard A. Prunty, Battalion Chief Matthew L. Ryan, Battalion Chief Fred C. Sheffield Jr., Battalion Chief Lawrence T. Stack, Battalion Chief John P. Williamson, Captain Daniel J. Brethel, Captain Patrick J. Brown, Captain Vincent E. Brunton, Captain William F. Burke Jr., Captain
At
Frank
this
J.
time, I'm going to ask the
Callahan,
chiefs in the front row.
Captain
to
Martin
please
J.
join in ordering the memorial.
Jr., Captain Michael A. Esposito, Captain John R. Fisher, Captain Vincent F. Giamona, Captain Terrence S. Hatton, Captain Walter G. Hines, Captain Frederick J. Ill Jr., Captain William E. McGinn, Captain Thomas C. Moody, Captain Daniel O'Callahan, Captain William S. O'Keefe, Captain Vernon A. Richard, Captain Timothy M. Stackpole, Captain Patrick J. Waters, Captain David T. Woolley, Lieutenant Joseph Agnello, Lieutenant Brian G. Ahern, Lieutenant Greg Atlas, Lieutenant Stephen J. Bates, Lieutenant Carl J. Bedigian, Lieutenant John A. Chrissy, Lieutenant Edward A. Diatri, Lieutenant Manuel Del Valle Jr., Lieutenant Andrew J. Desperito, Lieutenant Kevin W. Donnelly, Lieutenant Kevin C. Dowdell, Lieutenant Michael N. Fodor, Lieutenant David J. Fontana, Lieutenant Andrew A. Fredericks, Lieutenant Peter L. Freund, Lieutenant Charles W. Garbarini, Lieutenant Ronnie E. Geese, Lieutenant John F. Ginley, Lieutenant Jeffrey E. Gouja, Lieutenant Joseph P. Gullickson, Lieutenant David Halderman, Lieutenant Vincent G. Halloran, Lieutenant Harvey L. Harrell, Lieutenant Stephen G. Harrell, Lieutenant Michael K. Healy, Lieutenant Timothy B. Higgins, Lieutenant Anthony M. Jovic, Lieutenant Thomas R. Kelly, Lieutenant Ronald T. Kerwin, Lieutenant Joseph G. Levy, Lieutenant Michael F. Lynch, Lieutenant Patrick J. Lyons, Lieutenant Charles J. Margiata, Lieutenant Peter C. Martin, Lieutenant Paul R. Martini, Lieutenant Paul T. Mitchell, Lieutenant Dennis Mojica, Lieutenant Raymond E. Murphy, Lieutenant Robert B. Nagel, Lieutenant John P. Napolitano, Lieutenant Thomas G. O'Hagan, Lieutenant Glenn C. Perry, Lieutenant Philip S. Petty, Lieutenant Kevin J. Pfeiffer, Lieutenant Kenneth J. Phelan Sr., Lieutenant Michael T. Quilty, Lieutenant Robert M. Regan, Lieutenant Michael T. Russo Sr., Lieutenant Christopher P. Sullivan, Lieutenant Robert F. Wallace, Lieutenant Jeffrey P. Walls, Lieutenant Michael P. Wacola, Lieutenant Glenn E. Wilkinson, Fire Marshal Ronald P. Uka, Fire Marshal Andre G. Fletcher, Fire Marshal Vincent D. Kane, Fire Marshal Kenneth B. Kumpel, Fire Marshal Paul J. Pansini, Firefighter Eric T. Allen, Firefighter Richard D. Allen, Firefighter Calixto Anaya Jr., Firefighter Joseph J. Angelini Sr., Firefighter Joseph J. Angelini Jr., Firefighter Faustino Apostol Jr., Firefighter David G. Arce, Firefighter Louis Arena, Firefighter Carl F. Asaro, Firefighter Gerald T. Atwood, Firefighter Gerard Baptiste, Firefighter Matthew E. Barnes, Firefighter Arthur T. Barry, Firefighter Stephen E. Belson, Firefighter John P. Bergen, Firefighter Paul M. Bayer, Firefighter Peter A. Bielfeld, Firefighter Brian E. Bilcher, Firefighter Carl V. Beanie, Firefighter Christopher J. Blackwell, Firefighter Michael L. Bocchino, Firefighter Frank J. Bonamo, Firefighter Gary R. Box, Firefighter Michael Boyle, Firefighter Kevin H. Bracken, Firefighter Michael E. Brennan, Firefighter Peter Brennan, Firefighter Andrew C. Brunn, Firefighter Greg J. Buck, Firefighter John P. Burnside, Firefighter Thomas M. Butler, Firefighter Patrick D. Byrne, Firefighter George C. Kane, Firefighter Salvatore B. Calabro, Firefighter Michael F. Camerata,
It is now 9:03. Second plane strikes the south tower of the World Trade Center. Please let us bow our heads again in a moment of silence. At this time, I would like to invite Chief Jonathan Pastilli and Chief Cesar Escobar to place the second wreath at the wall. At this time, I'm going to ask any other uniformed members that would like to please come up and water the tribute trees.
Ryan Canizaro, Firefighter Dennis M. Carey Sr., Firefighter Michael S. Carlo, Firefighter Michael T. Carroll, Firefighter Peter J. Carroll, Firefighter Thomas A. Casoria, Firefighter Michael J. Cawley, Firefighter Vernon P. Cherry, Firefighter Nicholas P. Schiappolo, Firefighter John G. Shapora, Firefighter Michael J. Clark, Firefighter Stephen Coakley, Firefighter Terrell Coleman, Firefighter John M. Collins, Firefighter Robert J. Cordis, Firefighter Ruben D. Correa, Firefighter James R. Coyle, Firefighter Robert J. Crawford, Firefighter Thomas P. Cullen III, Firefighter Robert Curatolo, Firefighter Michael D. Dioria, Firefighter Scott M. Davidson, Firefighter Edward J. Day, Firefighter Martin N. DeMeo, Firefighter David P. DeRubio, Firefighter Gerard P. Dewan, Firefighter George DePasquale, Firefighter Gerard J. Duffy, Firefighter Michael J. Alferez, Firefighter Francis Esposito, Firefighter Robert E. Evans, Firefighter Terrence P. Farrell, Firefighter Lee S. Feeling, Firefighter Alan D. Feinberg, Firefighter Michael C. Fiore, Firefighter John J. Florio, Firefighter Thomas J. Foley, Firefighter Robert J. Foti, Firefighter Thomas Gambino Jr., Firefighter Thomas A. Gardner, Firefighter Matthew D. Garvey, Firefighter Bruce H. Gary, Firefighter Gary P. Geidel, Firefighter Dennis P. Germain, Firefighter James A. Giberson, Firefighter Paul J. Gill, Firefighter Jeffrey J. Giordano, Firefighter John J. Giordano, Firefighter Keith A. Glasgow, Firefighter James M. Gray, Firefighter Jose A. Guadalupe, Firefighter Robert W. Hamilton, Firefighter Sean S. Hanley, Firefighter Thomas P. Hannafin, Firefighter Dana R. Hannon, Firefighter Daniel E. Harlan, Firefighter Timothy S. Haskell, Firefighter Michael H. Howe, Firefighter John F. Heffernan, Firefighter Ronnie L. Henderson, Firefighter Joseph P. Henry, Firefighter William L. Henry Jr., Firefighter Thomas J. Hetzel, Firefighter Jonathan R. Holman, Firefighter Thomas P. Hollahan, Firefighter Joseph G. Hunter, Firefighter Jonathan L. Ielpi, Firefighter William R. Johnston, Firefighter Andrew B. Jordan Sr., Firefighter Carl H. Joseph, Firefighter Angel L. Huarbe Jr., Firefighter Paul H. Keating, Firefighter Richard J. Kelly Jr., Firefighter Thomas W. Kelly, Firefighter Thomas J. Kennedy, Firefighter Michael B. Kiefer, Firefighter Robert C. King Jr., Firefighter Scott M. Kopitko, Firefighter William E. Krukowski, Firefighter Thomas J. Kuvakis, Firefighter David J. LaForge, Firefighter William D. Lake, Firefighter Robert T. Lane, Firefighter Peter J. Langone, Firefighter Scott A. Larson, Firefighter Neil J. Levy, Firefighter Daniel F. Libretti, Firefighter Robert T. Linane, Firefighter Michael F. Lynch, Firefighter Michael J. Lyons, Firefighter Joseph Maffeo, Firefighter William J. Mahoney, Firefighter Joseph E. Maloney, Firefighter Kenneth J. Marino, Firefighter John D. Marshall, Firefighter...
Any other uniformed members that wish to order, please step up.
Firefighter Brian G. McLeese, Firefighter John K. McAvoy, Firefighter Thomas J. McCann, Firefighter Dennis P. McHugh, Firefighter Robert D. McMahon, Firefighter Robert W. McPadden, Firefighter Terrence A. McShane, Firefighter Timothy P. McSweeney, Firefighter Martin E. McWilliams, Firefighter Raymond M. Meisenheimer, Firefighter Charles R. Mendez, Firefighter Steve J. Mercado, Firefighter Douglas C. Miller, Firefighter Henry A. Miller Jr., Firefighter Robert J. Manara, Firefighter Thomas Mingjion, Firefighter Manuel Mojica, Firefighter Carl.
At this time, I would like to invite the New York City Retirees, EMS Retirees Association members, EMT Yvette Perez and Lieutenant Jim Scullion to place a memorial wreath at the wall. At this time, I'd like to invite all non-uniform members or uniform members of other services to please step forward and water the memorial trees.
Firefighter Michael G. Montesi. Firefighter Vincent S. Morello. Firefighter Christopher M. Mozillo. Firefighter Richard T. Muldowney Jr. Firefighter Michael D. Mullen. Firefighter Dennis M. Mulligan. Firefighter Peter A. Nelson. Firefighter Gerard T. Nevins. Firefighter Dennis P. Oberra. Firefighter Douglas E. Olschlager. Firefighter Joseph J. Ogren. Firefighter Samuel P. Otis. Firefighter Patrick J. O'Keefe. Firefighter Eric T. Olson. Firefighter Jeffrey J. Olson. Firefighter Stephen J. Olson. Firefighter Kevin M. O'Rourke. Firefighter Michael J. Otten. Firefighter Jeffrey A. Palazzo. Firefighter Frank Palumbo. Firefighter James N. Papageorge. Firefighter Robert E. Parrow. Firefighter Darrell V. Pearsall. Firefighter Christopher J. Pickford. Firefighter Sean E. Powell. Firefighter Vincent A. Princiata. Firefighter Kevin M. Pryor. Firefighter Lincoln Guape. Firefighter Leonard J. Regaglia. Firefighter Michael P. Ragusa. Firefighter Edward J. Roll. Firefighter Adam D. Rand. Firefighter Donald J. Regan. Firefighter Christian M. O. Regenhard. Firefighter Kevin O. Riley. Firefighter Jimmy Riches. Firefighter Joseph R. Ravelli Jr. Firefighter Michael E. Roberts. Firefighter Michael E. Roberts. Firefighter Anthony Rodriguez. Firefighter Matthew S. Rogan. Firefighter Nicholas P. Rosamando. Firefighter Paul G. Ruback. Firefighter Stephen P. Russell. Firefighter Thomas E. Sabella. Firefighter Christopher A. Santora. Firefighter John A. Santor. Firefighter Gregory T. Sosido. Firefighter Dennis Scauzo. Firefighter John A. Shart. Firefighter Thomas G. Scholes. Firefighter Gerard P. Schrang. Firefighter Gregory R. Sikorsky. Firefighter Stephen G. Siller. Firefighter Stanley S. Smagala Jr. Firefighter Kevin J. Smith. Firefighter Leon Smith Jr. Firefighter Robert W. Spear Jr. Firefighter Joseph P. Spoor Jr. Firefighter Gregory M. Stajic. Firefighter Jeffrey Stark. Firefighter Benjamin Suarez. Firefighter Daniel T. Sir. Firefighter Brian E. Sweeney. Firefighter Sean P. Talon. Firefighter Alan Tarashevitz. Firefighter Paul A. Tegmeyer. Firefighter John P. Tierney. Firefighter John J. Tipping II. Firefighter Hector L. Tirado Jr. Firefighter Richard B. Van Heim. Firefighter Peter A. Vega. Firefighter Lawrence G. Billing. Firefighter John T. Vigiano II. Firefighter Sergio.
At this time, I would like to invite probationary EMS class 2102 to please water the memorial tree.
Genueva. Firefighter Lawrence J. Virgilio. Firefighter Kenneth T. Watson. Firefighter Michael T. Weinberg. Firefighter David M. Weiss. Firefighter Timothy M. Welty. Firefighter Eugene M. Whalen. Firefighter Edward J. White III. Firefighter Mark P. Whitford. Firefighter Raymond R. York. EMS Lieutenant Ricardo J. Quinn. Paramedic Carlos R. Lillo.
Dedicated to the memory of those who bravely served this department, protecting life and property in the city of New York in the rescue and recovery effort at Manhattan Box 558087 World Trade Center. Firefighter Gary E. Salentani. Firefighter Robert W. Dillon. Firefighter Len Clive A. Johnson. Firefighter Russell C. Brinkworth. Firefighter Edward V. Tejan. Firefighter Walter Voigt. Battalion Chief Kevin R. Burns. Firefighter Stephen M. Johnson. Lieutenant Richard M. Burke. Firefighter Michael Sophia. Firefighter Joseph T. Callahan. Firefighter Joseph P. Costello. Firefighter William R. O'Connor. Lieutenant Ronaldo Natal. Paramedic Deborah Reeve. Lieutenant Cruz Antonio Fernandez. Fire Marshal William Wilson Jr. Lieutenant Thomas J. Hodges. Firefighter Robert J. Weber. Lieutenant Joseph P. Cavalieri Jr. Firefighter Michael J. Shaggy. Firefighter William R. St. George. Firefighter Raymond W. Auber. Lieutenant Brian Ellicott. Firefighter William E. Moreau. Lieutenant John P. Murray. Firefighter Sean M. McCarthy. Firefighter Bruce M. Foss. Firefighter Jacques W. Poulter. Firefighter Martin C. Simmons. Firefighter Kevin M. Delano Sr. Lieutenant Vincent J. Tancredi II. Paramedic Clyde F. Seeley. Firefighter Timothy G. Lockwood. Firefighter Anthony Elise. Firefighter Edward F. Riley Jr. Firefighter John F. McNamara. Lieutenant Thomas G. Roberts. Captain Kevin J. Cassidy. Firefighter Joan R. Daly. Firefighter Richard A. Manetta. Lieutenant Peter J. Fahrenkoff. Battalion Chief John J. Vaughn. Firefighter Robert A. Ford. Paramedic Corinne A. Brown. Firefighter James J. Ryan. Lieutenant Robert M. Hess. EMT Freddie Rosario. Lieutenant Harry Wanamaker Jr.
Supervisor Communications Electrician Philip J. Berger. Firefighter Vincent J. Albanese. Firefighter Robert J. Ventriglia. Firefighter John P. Sullivan Jr. Firefighter Roy W. Chelson. Firefighter William H. Quick. Lieutenant Andrew M. Borghese. Firefighter John F. O'Neill. Firefighter Willie T. Franklin Jr. Lieutenant Randy J. Weebick. Firefighter Brian C. Malloy. Lieutenant John A. Garcia. Firefighter Anthony J. Nuccio. Fire Marshal Stephen C. Mazziello. Firefighter Carl Capobianco. Captain Emilio R. Longo. Firefighter Raymond Ragucci. Deputy Chief William J. Guido. Captain Sheldon Barocas. Firefighter Virginia A. Spinelli. Deputy Assistant Chief EMS John S. McFarland. Lieutenant Robert J. Stegmeyer. Lieutenant Mark W. McKay. Firefighter Owen T. Carlock. EMT Anthony J. Ficara. Lieutenant Patrick J. Sullivan. Firefighter Michael F. Mongelli. Firefighter Lawrence J. Sullivan. Firefighter Michael G. Behetti. Battalion Chief Thomas R. Van Doren. Battalion Chief Richard E. McGuire. EMT Joseph V. Schumo. Paramedic Ruben I. Barrios. Firefighter Walter Torres. Battalion Chief John K. Corcoran. Firefighter Andrew D. Dowd Cortivo. Lieutenant Martin T. Fulham. Firefighter Charles L. Jones III. Battalion Chief Richard D. Arizosa. Supervising Fire Marshal Emil K. Harnischfeger. EMS Lieutenant Douglas Mulholland. Captain Peter J. Casey. Paramedic Rudolph T. Havelka. EMT Francis A. Charles. Paramedic John W. Wyatt Jr. EMT Luis De Pena. Firefighter Adolfo Otano. EMS Lieutenant Michael F. Cavanaugh. Deputy Chief Inspector James W. Mandelkow.
Lieutenant Thomas J. Greeny. Firefighter Keith E. Atlas. Auto Mechanic Raphael E. Scarpiti. EMS Lieutenant Walter J. Nelson Jr. Lieutenant John J. Halpin. EMS Captain William C. Olson. Lieutenant Stephen B. Reisman. Lieutenant Keith M. Lachlan. Firefighter Ronald R. Bernyson. Lieutenant John K. Grems. Firefighter Daniel E. Hegland. Firefighter Robert E. Lever. Lieutenant Howard J. Bischoff. Firefighter Cornell L. Horn. EMS Lieutenant Thomas Giamarino. Firefighter Eugene J. Vicari. Firefighter James J. Marshall. Firefighter Charles S. Suzuki. Firefighter Richard E. Nogan. Battalion Chief John J. Cassidy. Captain John R. Graziano. Firefighter Gregory A. Chevali. Battalion Chief George D. Iser. Firefighter James M. Hicks. Captain John Gallagher. Captain Thomas J. Thompson. EMS Lieutenant Harold E. McNeil Sr. Lieutenant Gary J. Gates. Firefighter Dennis J. Heedles Sr. Firefighter Nicholas J. Damasi. Firefighter Thomas A. Lynn. Battalion Chief James N. Costello. Firefighter Frank D. Fontano. Firefighter Michael P. Smith. Firefighter Thomas J. Kelly. EMT Norman Valley. Firefighter Joseph A. Morstadt. Lieutenant Robert G. Alford. Firefighter Thomas Farrell. Firefighter Robert W. Johnson. Fire Marshal Gregorio Morales. Firefighter William E. Woodland. Lieutenant Ronald D. Biller. Captain Vincent R. Ungaro. Firefighter Paul F. Santoro. Firefighter Robert M. Gless. Firefighter John A. Dunn. Firefighter Harry L. Davis. Lieutenant Raymond W. Alexander. Firefighter Joseph P. O'Toole. Firefighter Kevin A. Rumi.
Firefighter Brian J. Masterson. Firefighter Robert F. DiGiovanni. EMS Lieutenant Edith E. Torres. Firefighter Robert E. Newman. EMT Rose M. Scott. Lieutenant Stephen Sorger. EMS Lieutenant Mario Bastidas, Firefighter Roy E. Smith, Firefighter James J. Lanza, Paramedic Mark A. Harris, Firefighter Raymond J. Pfeiffer, Lieutenant William J. Kelly, Firefighter William J. Gormley, Firefighter John B. O'Brien, Firefighter Michael L. Duffy, Marine Engineer Robert W. Alexander, Battalion Chief Joseph D. McKeon, Firefighter Michael R. O'Hanlon, Dr. Michael G. Gutenberg, Firefighter Robert M. Tylercio, Lieutenant Edward J. McDonough, Lieutenant Joseph R. Statch Jr., Firefighter Raymond R. Phillips Jr., Firefighter Ronald P. Zvek, Lieutenant Edward T. Meehan, Captain Victor C. Valva, Deputy Chief Joetti Frizzell, Firefighter Paul R. Tokarski, Pilot Thomas P. Fellon, Firefighter Keith R. Young, Marine Engineer John L. Bueller, Firefighter George F. Frulick, Firefighter Brent G. Kroback, Firefighter James J. Herson, Firefighter Robert J. Lembo, Assistant Chief Ronald R. Spadafora, Firefighter Charles Williams, Battalion Chief Robert P. Mayucho, Firefighter Michael T. McDonald, Firefighter Jimmy Martinez, Firefighter Dennis G. Heaney, Firefighter John R. Elgis, EMT Felipe A. Torre, Paramedic Martha Stewart, EMT Joseph A. Rodriguez, Firefighter Daniel C. Bove, Captain John S. Moskella, Firefighter Richard H. Meehan, Lieutenant Timothy P. O'Neill, Firefighter Kevin E. Lennon,
Captain Robert E. Collis, Lieutenant John T. Moran, Firefighter Joseph Walsh, Firefighter Lloyd W. Stewart, Firefighter Kevin J. Nolan, Firefighter Richard N. Driscoll, Auto Mechanic James J. Sotilli, Firefighter Robert B. Fitzgibbon, Firefighter Walter E. McKee, Firefighter John W. Boyle, Firefighter Joseph R. Lucino, Firefighter Roger Espinal, Firefighter Richard J. Tanagretta, Firefighter Andrew S. Gargiulo, Lieutenant Richard G. Estreicher, Firefighter Clifford R. DeMuro, Captain Dennis N. Gilhooly, Firefighter Brian W. Cass, Firefighter Michael L. Feldman, Firefighter Richard B. Jones, Lieutenant Paul W. Deo, Firefighter Joseph A. Hasselman, Firefighter Daniel R. Foley, Battalion Chief Dennis J. Moynihan, Lieutenant Donald Franz, Firefighter Anthony R. Irachi, Firefighter John H. Marr, Firefighter Paul J. Greco, Lieutenant Kevin C. Dunn, Firefighter Anthony J. Catapano, Firefighter Paul A. McManaman, Associate Electrical Inspector Michael Cavolius, Firefighter John P. Fogarty, Firefighter Timothy J. Burke. EMT Renee Sanchez. Lieutenant John P. Poulos. Firefighter William Hodgins. Fire Marshal Robert J. Kelly. Firefighter Thomas G. Manley. Firefighter Ronald P. Stortz. Lieutenant Gerard C. McGibbon. Lieutenant Paige A. Humphreys. Firefighter Dennis A. Farrell. Firefighter George H. Wilton Jr. Firefighter Joseph M. Boyle. Captain Frank A. Hortel. Firefighter Joseph K. Daly. Firefighter James D. Shaughnessy. Lieutenant James J. Winters. Captain John J. Galvin.
Firefighter Sean D. Kenny. Firefighter Thomas G. Olkers. Firefighter Anthony Malfi. Firefighter Wayne T. Gorin. Paramedic Stephenson McCoy. Lieutenant Patrick J. Whalen.
And we lost another one of our firefighters, firefighter Dennis B. McLean of ladder 137 within the last few days. At this time, I would like to invite Reverend Ann Cansfield, who will now deliver the benediction.
Chief specifically said you're not gonna make me cry. You know, it's an amazing thing, the human body, what it can endure. How we get through that, I see there's some knee tappers. There's some avert your eyes, can't look at each other verse. I'm a bite my tongue person. The back of my tongue is raw. But for all of us, at the base of that is a deep sense of love. Love and care. And the fact that what you do, what we do, really, really matters. And one of their legacies is the fact that we can say, I love you. I love you. And you don't think I'm crazy. What other job do you get to do that? God sent you. God sends you. You do the work that matters. It matters so much that we sometimes can't look each other in the eye or have to bite our tongues. Can't even feel how much that matters. Thank God. Thank God for you and what you do. Go forth today with love. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Ann. At this time, I would like to thank everyone on behalf of the New York City Fire Commissioner who attended today's service. But one more thing, we now need to bow our head for another minute. It is now 9:37. The plane has struck the Pentagon. Again, on behalf of New York City Fire Commissioner, members of our dais, and everyone in the New York City Fire Department, we thank you for coming to today's 20th anniversary memorial service here at Fort Taunton. But a little side note, for those of you that haven't been here before, I'd like you to look at those 2 trees that you watered today. Those 2 trees were planted by the EMS Academy staff in 2002, and they were 4 feet tall. So every year, we water them, and with your love and devotion, look how they've grown. I'd also like to thank the EMS unions, 2507 and 3621, for their continued support of this EMS memorial, providing refreshments and everything they do throughout the year. Again, thank you for attending today's ceremony. Everyone is invited into Building 325 for light refreshments. Thank you, have a good day, stay safe and well.